You may have wondered why we had a week off. We had to process some shit because it was been such a frustrating fortnight when it comes to national teams in Australian rugby. But we are here now. It is Bledisloe week. We are back up off the floor. I am Nick Wasiliev. It is dropped kickoff time, and we're here to talk about a match, small match. It's definitely not the biggest match of the year when it comes to the Australian calendar. It is discussing Australia playing New Zealand as we head into the final 2 weeks of the Rugby Championship. But we've also, at the same time, we have some homework to do. We've got to pick up and discuss what the hell happened in Argentina, as well as another national team that significantly underperformed, which was the Wallaroos, which over this weekend just gone. First up, I have to join me the man, the myth, the co-founder himself, Mr. Nick Hartman. Nick, have you been in a calm Zen place after that terrible Wallabies performance and we took a break?
You know what? I have actually. I have been in a calm Zen place. It's kind of crazy. I didn't watch the game. I honestly kind of forgot it was on. Like I was like, yep, I gotta wake up for it, and just lost track of time. So I actually didn't watch the game, and then I saw the score, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna bother. Highlights is enough for me, but I am in a calm Zen place. I think it's reflecting a lot of the fans. I think everyone's kind of happy where we are with Joe Schmidt. We had the crash course in the Eddie Jones kind of horror year, and we got rid of some brash people up top. Nathan, I'm going to get you sacked. And a bit of braggadocio got out of there.
I have no idea what you're talking
about. So I think, yeah, I'm feeling good. And it's kind of coming to that state of denial kind of thing. Like, I'm happy with it. This is fine. That meme of the dog and the house fire. And I mean, it can't get much worse, but, you know, Steve Hansen was on your pod earlier today, Nick, or yesterday, saying we should go back to 3 teams. So, yeah, no, I don't think it can get much worse. And then you see the Waratahs are signing, of course, the most important team in Australia, and can't help but get excited. So, yeah, look, to answer your question, yeah, I am Zen.
I appreciate that you are Zen. I could not be further from that. And I mean, of course, we'll dive into that in a little bit. But of course, the other gentleman who is joining us, the ever stalwart, the man who stays strong as we go through turbulent Wallaby waters. Like as the chaos around him, he sits there at rugby.com.au and somehow keeps going. Nathan, I'm actually envious of how you manage to just keep your head above water at this point. Did we go to a car and scream in it like you did at Parramatta Stadium last year? Have you had any moments like that in the last 2 weeks?
Actually, I didn't. It was more just like a hollow feeling after. We'll sort of get into the reasons why, but after one of the more unique thumpings I've seen in my lifetime. But hey, you sort of roll. I've learned that you just roll on from loss to loss. You sort of you make other teams making you stars of us, and then we kind of just roll to the next game. So that's what we've done. We just roll on, keep going, and hopefully I can delude myself into thinking that this year's going to be different.
I appreciate that you two are going to be in a zen. You're kind of in a state of mute acceptance. I'm more of a grumpy bastard. In all honesty, I mean, last episode we did, which was just before the second test in Santa Fe. We were talking about how the Wallabies are on the good side of average. Now I feel like we're on the bad side. We're on the bad side of average. The pendulum has swung over and we're on the bad side of average. Maybe even more the bad side of mediocre. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit. But we'll kick off again, as always, with our left field question. And of course, because it is Bledisloe week, it has to be a Bledisloe themed question. And Mr. Hartman, I'll throw to you first. This question provided courtesy of Mr. Williamson. How far would you go to guarantee a Bledisloe Cup Series victory? What would you trade in? That is the question that we asked this week.
Yeah, look, this is a pretty broad question, isn't it? I mean, like, what am I trading in? Am I losing a finger? Am I, losing sense of smell? Like, it's
how far are you willing to go? That's
yeah,
it.
But I mean, like, yeah. So I'll probably say What, Nathan?
I'll start. I will happily lose a finger. If you can guarantee me a Bledisloe like this changes, I will lose my pinky finger.
So even if it's one win, Nathan, and then there's another 25-year drought.
Yeah.
Oh, the hesitation.
Okay.
The hesitation.
It's a lot easier to retain it if we could keep the two test series. All we have to do is win one. I'd probably just cut the pinky off right in the middle.
I guess Crichton style.
Yeah. Why not? If it was good enough for the hockey player at the Olympics, you may as well.
Well, good enough for Angus Crichton, right? For the love of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a bit left field, and this means a lot to me, but I would like kind of like Men in Black style, completely my memory, and like I can't remember them again. Like just those Willy Wonka sherbet fizz that they used to have, like in the raspberry.
Yep, they still got them, I think.
All memory of that. I found them once in Big W in Top Ride years ago, and I went crazy. But yeah, that's what I'd wipe my memory of, I think, and that's really a special memory to me because they're very delicious. Or maybe it'd be something like coriander would taste like crap to me because I love coriander. Maybe it'd be something like that.
Wow.
There were two different answers right there. So Nick, pick one in the middle.
Maybe I'd let Nick really have seen me naked again.
I mean, I don't think I've seen you naked. I'm trying to remember the last time I mean, I've seen you drunk loads of times, but I haven't seen. No, I don't think I've seen you fully naked.
He's lying, Nathan. He's lying.
No. For those watching, you can see Nick go red.
I'm red all the time. I'm red all the time. It's my German complexion. Nice try. Do you know what I would do? I would keep it sort of sport themed and trade in like another significant moment to break a drought. Like, I don't know. Maybe let's keep it New Zealand focused. I would retcon the underarm incident, and say like Australia should get banned for 6 months or something, or like say that test match just purely on that. New Zealand can win that. They can have it, and they can probably give them Pavlova.
Actually, could I change my answer? Could I change my answer to something rugby related then?
Go for it.
Of course.
The most annoying South African fan can ring me up for 10 minutes every day for the rest of the year, and I'll listen to him and agree with him.
Oh, that's good.
How long does he have to speak?
I would learn Afrikaans. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be funny, actually. Yeah. Maybe let's lean into the memes. Let's what we would listen to abuse from every single the worst fan from every single nation for the rest of the year. If yeah, I'll happily take that because it'd be taking solace in knowing that that we actually finally won a damn Bledisloe. I would what would I do? I mean, here's a question: I would trade in a World Cup for a Bledisloe.
No, that's crazy, bro.
Right, a Rugby World Cup or what?
Rugby World. I would trade in a Rugby World Cup for a Bledisloe.
I trade in Cricket World Cup.
I mean, we've got so many. We've got so fucking many Cricket World Cups. We've got so much fucking
Hence
shit.
why I said it. I'd trade in the couple
I would kiss the feet of every real estate agent I see and say, "Wow, you're doing a great job."
Honestly though, for me at this point, a Bledisloe Cup to me is more valuable than a World Cup. Honestly,
that's fair.
I genuinely think in the current state of things, a Bledisloe Cup would do more for Australian rugby than a World Cup.
Hey, what do you win if you win the Rugby Championship?
You win
the Rugby Championship.
Is it like a trophy in the shape of a big cap?
No, it's a big thin cup. It's really boring. It's just a big tall. It's like a tall cup, kind of not like an egg basket.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool.
Like the old Super Rugby one.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the old Super Rugby one. Yeah.
The Bledisloe Cup is named Bledisloe because some guy donated Lord Bledisloe donated the cup.
Mm.
I think Twiggy should donate a rugby championship thing. We can call it something cool and twee like that,
Like
The Twiggy Trophy.
Yeah, the Twiggy Trophy. If I can take the shit talk segment just on a bit of a tangent for a moment, just before doing this podcast, we do research, everyone, and I was just looking up.
And we definitely watch games as well.
And we definitely watch games. And I was just looking up Sydney Morning Herald, and I just saw this clip from Stan on their panel show, and they had Bernard Foley on. I don't know if you've seen him, but he looks like he has got Botox or filler. His skin is so shiny. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen his skin in a long time, to be honest. But I mean,
Was
he's been in Japan, so
was this the one where he got bullied for the whole Raynal? Like there was a whole segment where he got bullied by either Sonny Bill or Morgan Turinui about the fact.
I can say it, yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure. But it's called How Foley Got Under SBW Skin, and it's a Sonny Bill Williams is there and Turinui. He looks too shiny, man.
I think it's just the lighting, really. Just the lighting kind of just doesn't help him.
He's trying to give off the impression that I am the fly half Australia deserves. This is how good you could have it.
It also looks like he's bleached his eyebrows.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It's a bit uncanny, man. And I know my girlfriend watches a lot of those the Real Housewives shows, so I know what plastic surgery looks like. I just want to say, I'm just saying it looks like it.
We're calling you out.
It is.
So all right, here's the thing then. Can you give us an answer then? We'll put it on the Dropped Kickoff Twitter. Can you ask your partner and show her Bernard and can you get her to confirm that he does in fact have plastic surgery?
Okay, let me just
exclusive scoop
I
here.
can do that right now.
You're gonna do it right now.
I just got to mute. Mute.
Well, while you he's gone.
He's actually off. Jesus.
He's actually gone. Well, while he's muted, how about you and I, Nathan? We dive into this. Let's talk Wallaroos first because it's the most recent. It's the freshest. The Wallaroos have kicked off their 5-match tour of the Northern Hemisphere, and it started terribly in conditions in Belfast at Kingspan Stadium. They went down 36-10 to Ireland in probably blustery conditions, but conditions that that would probably warrant some better stuff. Maybe we'll pause for a second and see his next.
Hang on, boys. Actually, I've got her.
We've got her.
See this guy here?
Yeah.
Right, that's Bernard Foley. He's next player, and here's his Google Images search.
Hello.
Right. Do you think he's had plastic surgery?
Yes.
Ah!
Oh, gets confirmed.
He's had Botox and he's
Botox and crow's feet. I told you, boys.
Is that what you said?
That's what I want. Yeah, I said he looks like he's got plastic surgery done.
Oh, did you say Botox?
Yeah, and it looks like his eyebrows are lighter. See?
He's too shiny.
He's too shiny.
He's too shiny.
Can that be the lighting, though? Is it the lighting doing all the heavy lifting?
Could it be the lighting?
Confirmed.
But
What?
it could be the lighting.
It looks like he used polish. It can't just be.
Officially confirmed here. Officially confirmed. That is all recorded for posterity. Officially confirmed by the plastic surgery whisperer, Nick Hartman's partner. Bernard Foley has had Botox. Officially confirmed here. Fuck the Bledisloe. This is the biggest news that you will get this year. This week.
What player would look best with plastic surgery?
What player would look best with plastic surgery? Oh, God. I feel like we need to... Let's finish with that one. I feel like we actually need to start talking rugby because we are, in fact, a rugby podcast. I know. So we always just go down a tangent, hey. Like we should probably donate an episode to at the end of the year where we just go full Auntie Donna and just lose complete track of exactly where we're going and just shit talk the whole time.
It's just
anyway,
all dumb questions. It's just an entire episode where you give us the dumbest like dumbest fucking questions to answer, and we will ramble on for a solid hour and a half.
Absolutely. We'll just and you will listen to the whole thing and you will enjoy it because it's the truth. I see the analytics. You guys do listen to the end. Sorry, before we got sidetracked for all the right reasons, we were discussing the Wallaroos. And as it's going to frustrate me so much to be with such euphoria about Bernard Foley's plastic surgery that I now have to talk about this performance because it was shit. To be honest, Nathan. I mean, okay, no, I tell a lie. It wasn't shit. The physicality, I think, was better. I think when they were on attacking, they looked promising. But that is where the positivities end here. Defense all over the shop. Physicality, not physicality. The execution, really fucking basic errors, killing all momentum. And the key difference between the two sides for me was just how well drilled Ireland were in comparison. I was pissed after this game because I genuinely thought we were a shot.
Yeah, I mean, should have. I mean, Ireland. You look at the rankings and go, "How the hell did the Ireland win?" Like, they qualified for WXV1. They're a good side. Does it mean that we should have lost by that much? No. That was it's just one of those performances where I think the best way to describe it is all the bad traits of past Australian defeats came out in one. In the sense of we missed, I think, 5 or 6 lineouts. That's official stats. There was a couple more which were just badly sort of messy and just didn't let the play flow. Basic mistakes, couldn't exit our line and sort of control conditions well, all topped off by a try right in halftime, which was completely against the run of play that killed all momentum and just sort of stunted the team's growth. I get there was a lot of changes, new halves, new captain, but yeah, it was a step back for them. Like they seriously need to sort of put it all together against Wales this week before WXV starts. Otherwise, there's going to be still more questions and answers. And like people will say, oh, well, the Irish team had 7 players. We don't have any 7 players. It's like, all right, that's all well and good. Like their 7 players made a difference in the second half, but this side was beating Wales and France and, competing with New Zealand without any 7 players last year. And not this year. Like, the reality is the performances now need to start coming together, especially with the World Cup coming up. And, you're not going to have the same runway of games that you've had leading into that World Cup. So again, improvement needs to happen. It needs to happen this week.
Yeah, I want to just shout out Banish Plump Jack, who actually tagged us. He was quite keen. They were quite keen to get our opinions on this Wallaroos match, and mentioned that there was a lot of talk about the comms for the Wallaroos game and how our ruck speed was so slow as well to mount effective attack. Do you reckon there's warranty in that? And that probably leads to a broader question around what is going on with this Wallaroos side? You kind of alluded to it just earlier with us kind of feeling like we were beating a lot of teams last year. We beat France and we beat Wales and we were much more competitive against the Black Ferns. That's really where it's felt like it's dropped off significantly. Does it come to, what do you think is the key problems facing this Wallaroos side? I mean, I have thoughts and opinions, but going into this game against Wales this weekend, what the hell does Jo Yap and her team focus on?
I think it's right around the sort of the speed of the breakdown. I think it was something like 40% of their breakdowns were less than 3 seconds in terms of from times of completion to actual execution. Good sides can get that up if you want to play that fast tempo up to like 60 or 70%. Like that, the speed needs to improve around there. I think they're seriously missing M Chancellor and Natty Talakai in terms of just the breakdown present and that added physicality. A couple of other with Piper Duck's injury as well. Like I think it's again, I think it's almost all around. Like the King game needs to get better. They need to be sharp with their execution. Find a way to get their wingers more involved in the game because I thought they were great in sort of the patches where they got the ball. I would say the scrum was good, but you have to convert that penalty pressure into points. when you're sort of kicking to a line out and turning that into a weapon. So, like, there's a lot of things, unfortunately. There's a lot of things, particularly when you're sort of coming off this loss and then into New Zealand. Like, it's going to be a big game when you consider we're playing the exact same side, Wales, next week in WXV2 opener, where, let's face it, we're expected to win. We want to win that. Winning the title is almost considered the pass mark.
Yes, absolutely. I think you have to consider winning. I mean, Joe Yap has always made it no secret that winning WXV2 was a goal here. And in my head, I wouldn't accept anything less, because as much as I think the South African program has advanced a lot, there's still a lot of and Scotland is really, really good. There is a lot of question marks around Wales at the moment. There is a lot of issues in their game, both on the field and off the field. It's probably, there's a lot of similarities to Australia. And given that we have a pretty decent record against them and have been able to find ways to beat them, I'm very worried about this weekend in Newport. I'm very, very worried, because a lot of those games against Wales have been by a margin of less than 7 the last couple of times around. And if we're coming in as undercooked as we feel like we are, having conceded 98 points in the last 2 games that we've played, I'm worried we'll be on the end of the wrong part of history here and have a first ever loss to Wales for the Wallaroos.
I'm comfortable. I think Ireland's a lot better side than Wales, and a first game of a tour, sort of get that out of your system. But yeah, I mean, as you said, both it's a sort of generally draw. It's very close games out of each other, so it's just going to be who can hold their sort of bottle towards the end, I think.
I will finish with one last point on the Wallaroos, which we've kind of alluded that we think their execution, particularly in comparison to other sides, isn't very good. I think their physicality has improved. The defense is miles behind where it needs to be. I do also feel like there's an element of complacency in there somewhere. Because the game, and I'm talking specific moments on the field, there's moments where they deliver something that is world class, a brilliant scrum, a fantastic attacking move, a couple of breaks down the flanks, and then they do something fucking stupid, and they do something that really just completely kills all momentum. And I think maybe you can say, well, that's Australian rugby in general, but it was specifically in this game where I really noticed it. Either, players not using the support when it was available to them, or taking moments where, they thought, oh yeah, if I just hit it up here, I'll be all right. Or, doing stuff when there wasn't anything on. That particular try you talk about was probably a key example where it resulted in, in a bad result and a try being conceded. But, slow down. Just take the time. Slow the hell down. Yes, Nathan's you're doing the breathing exercises.
Yeah.
I would do
just
this.
Control the game better. They've all but admitted that was sort of a fault of theirs, and particularly compared to how Ireland was able to control a game. But yeah, take the lesson, play to your strengths, and just sort of get the best out of your side without sort of panicking and act like you've sort of meant to be in that area.
Yeah. I really want this team to do well. I really, really do. And I really want this tour to be a success. Just don't turn out another crap performance like that. Just don't. I'm not going to, I hope that doesn't come across as entitled. I just really want this team to do well, because it could be something really beautiful if we have a Wallaroos side that really starts winning and comes away from this tour with a little bit of history, a little slice of history of their own. The Wallaroos have never even won 3 games in a row. That's how, give me that. Give me that. That's within our reach here. Come on. Oh, you got to earn it. You got to earn those wins and do it. Just do it. But anyway, enough of that point. We'll dive over from one overseas wallop to another, and let's talk about this second game in Argentina. Australia, of course, conceding the most number of points they ever have in a test match, losing 67-27 to Los Pumas. at one point being ahead 20-3 at the 30-minute mark is what makes this particularly painful. Mr. Hartman, I know that you are in a nice, calm, zen place, but I want you to get angry again and and think about the results that we saw from this match. In Santa Fe. I mean, the frustrating part is that first 30 minutes was stellar. Like, they looked the Wallabies looked really, really promising. What happened?
Yeah, look, it's hard to say. Like I said, I didn't really get a chance to watch the match and saw the highlights, but what I could kind of see, and it was something that happens in a lot in Wallabies matches and echoes what kind of Steve Hansen said in your pod, not to send more listeners over to a rival podcast, but he said he was on the Royal podcast, and he said that he visited the Australian setup during the World Cup and just didn't regard it, didn't think it was high performance. It wasn't the highest possible standard. And
high performance, key high performance pieces. I think the quote was like, there are key specific things that would be no-brainers in high performance that he would consider was missing. I think
which is, it's not a high standard. So I take that. Well, it's not to the highest standards of the level that the Wallabies regard them as themselves being in, or aspire to be. And I just think that there's this culture, and to also go back to Jack, forgot his name, who rang up, who wrote that really angry message on Facebook, and then Checker called him up about how the boys don't seem to give a shit. Yeah, Quigley. He didn't seem to give a shit. And there's still that element of that in the Wallabies. And it's hard to say they don't give a shit or anything, but I think that there is that aspect there where maybe there isn't pressure on them. Maybe there isn't that drive or insecurity to produce that drive like many other nations have, which I think leads to collapses like this. And we've seen it again and again, and you can see Bledisloe's on the weekend. And I've been to tons of Bledisloes where the All Blacks put 40 on by halftime. And it's only after it's 45-0 that the Wallabies play well. It's just that kind of, I don't know how to articulate it, but there is that, I don't know, there's like an empty hole. For our wine lovers out there, there's Grenache, which they say is a donut, because in the mid palate, you don't feel anything. So you taste something at the start, don't taste anything in the middle, and then taste something at the end. And it's kind of like that with the Wallabies. There's just nothing in the middle sometimes. And it just leads to collapses. But then again, you got, someone like Argentina, and it's all about the Wallabies playing like shit, but Argentina are a pretty good team, right? They tore the Kiwis apart. I guess their test, a lot of people saying, way to level ourselves is where we are in Argentina. I think Argentina's way to level themselves is against the best team in the world.
It's the most rugby thing ever to make the wine analogy, but you're correct.
Speaking to our audience.
Yep.
I think it's one of the, I sort of referenced it as one of my more weird performances that I saw, because in the sort of first 25 minutes, I was watching it being like, holy shit, we're here. Like, this is what has been sort of preached to us. Like, this is like, we are thumping blokes in the fence with, smart and attack and just playing some sharp rugby. I don't think I've ever seen a collapse like that. Like, I don't know if it's just like how, like, we were, I think 14 points down with 10 minutes to go, something like that. Like, we're still in the game. And then just, I don't know. I don't know if the conditions got to him. I don't know if, like, we could, because we've all been in those games where, like, you just get situations where you just can't stop him. So you just go, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to look for the siren. Like, I'm just going to sort of, this game's over. I'm not going to get injured. I'm just going to sort of they're just going to run. Whatever happens to me, it happens. And I kind of felt like what happened. And I mean, look, Argentina are the ultimate sort of emotion merchants, as I like to call them, with their anthem. Like, they will play on, all I need is a little sniff and a little sort of a glimmer. And, the crowd was sort of almost baiting for blood. Like, they were, every try sort of got them louder and louder and louder. And like they're a good side, as Nick said. Like they're, you don't beat New Zealand for nothing, but yeah, it's one of those concerning collapses because I think for three halves over there, we were playing great rugby, but it's almost just like that. Yeah, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's almost just like that little sort of. It's like you just sort of bought this new appliance and it's all working well, and you just see sort of, or like you buy a new car, it's all going well, and then sort of 3 months in, like your engine light goes on, and it goes on for like 20 seconds, and then all of a sudden it goes back off again, and you're like, wait, that's like catastrophic. What the fuck's happened there? But then you sort of now just driving on thinking, is that now in our game? Is that now in my, like, is something wrong here? And that was my feeling of, like, I've now seen the collapse. I've seen the problem. Is this going to be a problem? Like, is this now a serious problem that we have, that we are all of a sudden going to, like, capitulate when the going gets tough? Or was that just sort of a one-off that, something's just slightly malfunctioned, the wrong conditions at the wrong time, that sort of stuff that's drawn this in? Like, I really don't know how to feel. And so it's going to be one of those questions which only gets answered over time, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I have seen that, like, for 3 halves of rugby, we actually played really, really well in Argentina. I've heard that a lot. Joe's mentioned it. We did. Yes, we did. But the score, but all of that quality work was undone by 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
true too.
By 20 minutes, and that is, like, you worked that hard, and then you take, like, I think there was a video that went around on Twitter. I think it was by Ryan Lowe, of one of the Argentinian tries. I'm assuming you've seen it, where I think there was a whole bunch of Argentinian players moving on the left flank into the 22, and you look at where the Australian players are, and it is literally 2 on 7 or something like that. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, where is the defense? And I just look, and Ryan Lowe is pointing them out, and they're just jogging back to the try line. They already know a try is going to be scored. They're not going over to support.
That was great. Like, he was so angry, and it's a Springboks fan. What are you doing?
They're not going over to support. The ball is still live. A tackle. If it was Tom Liner who makes the tackle, that ball is still live. Matt Tamua, he described it. I think Christy asked him a question about it in the Raw Rugby pod, and he was like, "I think what happened, you just have that." I think you alluded to it, was like that moment where you've just been mentally broken, and that he thinks is what happened. And he's like, so Christy was like, so like giving up, and Matt's like, no, you're not giving up. You're still fighting on. But, like, you know that this is ugly loss, and you're done. And in my head, that's giving up. I'm sorry, they gave up. I can accept getting flogged. I cannot accept a team that gives up. That is why I've kind of boiled down why I've been in this irritated headspace for the last 2 weeks. That last 15 minutes was, and we've watched a lot of shit Wallaby performances. Like Wales last year, they were never even in that game. I can accept a side that was just never even in that game when you're clearly beaten by a better opposition. But we were up 20-3. We were all over that Argentinian side. And that last, pretty much, there was the McDermott try, which was the one glimmer of hope. But after that McDermott try, they scored 4 more tries in that last 10 minutes. 4 tries. If that's not a side that's given up, I don't know what is. So, fuck that performance. Fuck it to hell. Honestly. Just, that is not acceptable. Like, if you're going to give up, if you're going to produce a performance like that, then why the fuck am I following this team? I do not want to follow a team that gives up. And that may sound a more emotional and frustrated, but I want a team that show up and actually play. I mean, am I overreacting here? Is that unreasonable to be?
I love that we found Nick's cracking point. It took us 100+ episodes. We finally found a crack, and that's a fair point.
Yeah, I look, honestly, I kind of think it is unreasonable just for the fact that it's Wallabies. Like to what Nathan's saying, if you're getting angry about this, you would have cracked a long time ago. I would have cracked it another time to think about it. When I kind of like something in me cracked. Maybe it was like the 7th crack. It's like when something has loads of airline fractures. Was the line out in the Wales game in the World Cup where they threw
God.
it to no one.
God.
Nathan's got his hands in his hands
Fuck.
thinking about that.
I remember that play.
Oh.
They basically headbutted each other as they were going to lift the line out.
That time where Kopi Kepu shoveled the ball in a panic and threw it about 10 metres behind Nick Phipps against England at Twickenham.
Yeah, but that's just
watching the Sevens boys drop the kickoff 3 times.
Yeah.
Watching Nick Frost drop the kickoff 4 times in the first Argentina game.
But the big difference is that's just dumb shit. Yeah, they did something stupid in the Wales game, but at least they're trying. In that last 10 minutes, it was clear that they'd given up and were looking for the exit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can make that debate. I mean, the 40-6 scoreline pretty much says it all. But
was that the score? Fuck, I must have turned off when that was 20-6.
I fucking wish I could have. Holy shit!
Your fault.
This is just a trauma exercise right now.
Yeah. It is trauma exercises, isn't it? I mean. Wait, I mean, it was that game. That game is still probably now with thinking about it, doing compartmentalizing live recording here. That game is probably still the low point because Wales are shit.
Yeah.
At least this Argentina side is good.
Almost losing to Portugal was pretty bad.
Almost losing to Portugal was pretty bad. But I will say though that as an overall match, that Wales game was worse. But that last 10 minutes in Santa Fe was A-grade dog shit. Like the sloppiest dog poo that you can imagine. You can't pick it up. You've just got to find some way to deal with it. Fuck it all. Fuck that, put to hell. And I hope they never serve up something that crap again. I really do.
Hallelujah.
So
let's hope so. Let's hope so, please.
And on that bombshell, let's move forward and talk about the Bledisloe this weekend as to finish off the pod. At the time of us recording, there is no squad yet. That's set. We're recording Tuesday night, set to drop on Thursday, I believe, Nathan. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the squad at all? Quickly, what we want to see? I'm interested in what happens with Fraser McWright and Carlo Tizzano.
I think Mick Wright starts. I don't know what happens to Carlo fan.
But
maybe
ever come on?
No, he's back.
He's back. Okay.
But would he ever come on if he's named on the bench? At the same time, this was Paul Cully was talking about this in Sydney Morning Herald. Maybe you could do Pooper all over again, but Tizzano McRae.
Mick Zano?
Yeah. Mick Zano.
Mick Zano, yeah.
He sounds like a gangster in prison in Victoria. An underbelly character.
If you want to talk, even despite the last 10 minutes in Santa Fe, there were some good players that put their hand up on that Argentinian tour. I think Hamish Stewart had a pretty good tour. He's had a promising start in not necessarily like blowing the world away, but he seems like another effective distributor. In that first game, I particularly thought he was quite good at working kind of in that second, not necessarily second distributor sort of way, but opening things up for Noah a little bit, which is why I thought Noah kind of eased into the game a little bit more as Hamish did as well.
He's one of those guys that you kind of like, why aren't you picking him? Why aren't you picking him? Why aren't you picking him? And he gets picked and you're like, I told you. Him with Lenny Cattell and Eddie Jones.
I still don't know about him. I think he was great in the first one, but I think what flew under the radar, he missed a lot of tackles. It felt like he missed a lot of tackles.
That's what Tizzano's for.
What's the number? How many did he miss? Do we know?
So I'm trying to look up right now.
Okay. Would you have him? Well, in answer, would you have someone like Paisami coming back in? I still think Fluke is. I like Fluke.
Stunk. Paisami stunk for like 2 years.
Yeah, but
He's not been shit.
Yeah. I can take it. I'm pretty confident. Like, so Pasami spoke today and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm still going through the return to play and all that. Like, I'm still ticking boxes. He's not playing this week."
Okay, so he's definitely out.
Well, like the way he's talking for any other coach, I'd be like, maybe Joe Schmidt's method of picking squads. If you're not completely fit by Monday or Tuesday, you are not playing.
Okay.
So his chat of, I'm still working through the process. It's saying this. All I was going through my mind is, he's out.
Mm. So realistically, the only options available to him will either be Fluke or Stewart for the Bledisloe.
Which has to be Stewart in my eyes, because Josh Fluke hasn't played 12 at super level, let alone international. I'm sorry, he missed. So to answer your question, Stewart has missed 5 tackles in the past 2 games.
Oof. Not good.
Not ideal, but
no.
I think you've got to go, unless you do something completely wild and try and play like Donaldson at 10, Alessio at 12. Like, you've got to go with Hamish Stewart for this one.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I think that's probably the best option. Honestly, I think the back 3. There's plenty of options galore there. I know Marika did not have a good game in Santa Fe. I reckon his worst game ever in Wallaby Gold, if I'll be 100% honest with you. I reckon that was up there. And I mean, yes, he's experienced and he's got 60 freaking caps to his name, at least 60 odd. But I mean, the other options are someone like Dylan Peach, who only has two caps. Corey Toole, uncapped. Jorgensen, really unimpressed. Is Wright still out?
No, he's fit.
Oh, he's good? Oh, thank God. Okay, so realistically speaking, you'll have Marika, Kellaway, and Wright in the back
probably,
3. Yeah. They'll go for experience then. And with Jorgo probably on the bench because he's the only other option that really has any sort of test matches at all.
I think that test was the first time where I looked at Marika and gone, you might be old.
Oh no, don't say that.
But he wasn't playing that much in.
Dude's only 1 year older than me. Fuck.
You started old, so you can't talk.
Yeah, true.
No, he's played a lot of his Japanese rugby off the bench. I was watching it very with intent because he's always been that man that just defied physics, and I don't know. You watched him on he was great against South Africa in that Optus game. Just didn't look the same.
Yeah,
I'd love to be wrong. Love it.
I mean, it might just be. No, just saying it might be a bit undercooked.
It doesn't feel like that though, considering he did look pretty decent in some of the other matches earlier this year, but just something's off. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll tell you what is off. Let's just move to the front row. Alatoa and Slipper were appalling in that second game.
I told you this, didn't I? I said they're getting a bit old.
Yeah, but I mean, Slipper, I can grant you that. Dude's has always been getting on. He's about to hit 140 test matches, and that's a fantastic record to achieve. But Alatoa's got years left on him. I think there was just a case that they were just completely played off the park. But, I mean, the capitulation just started right there.
I think with Alatoa, what's we sort of overlook is, he's just come back from a ruptured Achilles. I think it still takes a long time for you to actually get back to complete fitness and being asked to do a lot. And I'm not preaching something new here when I say this, because I think everybody's preaches in the build-up. But if the Wallabies are going to have a chance this weekend, Bell and Tupou have to play close to 55, 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I back Slipper and Alatoa to do a job at the bench. It's not saying that they wouldn't, but just how dominant they were to start that game and how dominant they were in that first test, they need to start playing big minutes. And Bell can. Tupou, it's time to say it from him.
Yeah,
sorry, Nick. Sorry, and just also on the Allen. Yeah, so absolutely agree. There's been a bit of conjecture about Tupou and what's happening with him. Seeing like I know he was playing like 80 minutes for the Reds, and then he did he do his ankle or his foot or his Achilles, Nathan? I remember
Was it
because
so?
that Tongan Thorpe when he was at the Reds.
no, it was a
when he
Wallaby
at the
hit.
Reds. It was a Wallabies against Ireland where he did his Achilles.
Yeah. And then, so ever since then, I don't think he's been his red hot, and he's also been a bit, like, frankly, seems a bit unfit. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, like, if they started playing like anywhere near their potential together, they'd be the best front row in the world, like the two props in the world, honestly. Bell and Tupou. And look, Alan Alcantara, he's 30, but remember Scott CEO used to be crushing it, and I think he's the same age as 7As, and he just kind of dropped off, and that's just some people peak early, some people peak late. But I mean, I think you just need to start bringing in the next generation of props. That's our only option.
What, someone like a Kalia?
Yeah, start bringing in Nongor. Look, I'm not a man of the cloth. I can't really tell you, but yeah, I don't know Nongor. He's never wowed me, but bring him in. That's all we can do.
I mean, yeah. To Natho's point, I think even with that, even if you do bring the young guns in off the bench, Tupou and Bell still have to play at least 50 minutes. Also, let's not consider that, realistically speaking, they'll be packing down against Tamati Williams, who frequently plays 70 minutes. And that dude has got the same physicality and dominance as the Tongan Thor. But he can play for double the amount of time. So, like, they have to put in a big shift, to put it simply, because I reckon this is a key area where the game will be decided in that scrum dominance.
Unless they wink, wink, have concussion, wink, wink, and goes to uncontested scrum.
Oh yeah, I reckon that it was so foolproof. Yeah. It worked brilliantly against the Box.
It's a brilliant strategy that has absolutely no downsides.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. A kind of other key point. I feel like the second row. I mean, LSL is back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon that'll make a massive difference. Just he's clearly that extra.
As long as you don't pass to him, I'm on board.
I also think that the back, you guys may disagree, but the loose forwards is probably the one area where I think we have options galore. That is actually up to a standard comparable to the All Blacks. I think even despite the small moments in Santa Fe, Colatizano leaves with his stocks firmly raised. From Argentina, Valentini is obviously class, and Harry Wilson. I think even though he has just been on the receiving end of the biggest loss in the Wallabies history in terms of points. I do like him as the idea of him as captain, because I felt like in that first game our discipline was eons better than where it had been beforehand. We didn't even concede a card in that game, and it was like the first time in like 10 matches we hadn't conceded a card, which made such a difference. And even in this match just gone, even though we got our asses handed to us, I think it took until the 80th minute, I think it was, for us to have someone sent to the bin, which was Andrew Kellaway. So in the context of the game, it didn't even really matter. So, like, I feel like he can manage. He seems to be. There seems to be a better discipline from the two matches with him as captain. Maybe that plays a factor in it. I feel like there's plenty of options there for Joe. The other big one is the halves combo for me. Where do we even go here, Nath?
I mean, I think we got to go back to Noah. Like, we should have tried Donaldson. And, it was great for the first 20, 25 minutes. But I think every time we've tried someone different, it just kind of reaffirms that, Noah's the best option we have. Is he going to take over a game? Is he going to sort of light a well on fire? No, but he's the best option we got.
Well, as Harry Jones could say, we could always go for Tay Nedved.
I mean, yeah, if we're playing, a bunch of plumbers and mailmen in NPC, like that again, Tane will gain a lot of confidence from it, but it was against the worst ranked side in the competition. Like, let's
and
not.
his tries were he was just put straight in the middle of a hole. It looked pretty pathetic, to be honest.
I keep saying whenever Tane Edwards sort of struggles, you just look at it and go, like, how he played against Crusaders when he tore him up, we just ran the ball constantly. Just look at that and be like, Tane, do that all the time. And he did it, and he looked great. And it's like, fuck, Tane, just do that every single time, and you will be a gun.
That's probably what North Harbour are saying to him.
Hopefully, just run the ball, Tane. Anyway, that's a conversation for another podcast.
It is, but seems like the logical. I feel like Gordon has bar again that bloody Santa Fe performance has looked pretty promising under the Schmidt method of game plan. So it feels like Gordon Alessio seems like the natural way to go, considering they've been the main people that have been playing this whole time. I mean, the side doesn't necessarily fill me with a lot of confidence to beat New Zealand. But then again, I mean, Razor Robertson isn't exactly coming into this game all guns blazing either. He's also 4-3 to start the year. And while I think the level of physicality between the two sides is very, very different, I think New Zealand is a more dominant side. And they definitely made it a much more of a competition playing South Africa in South Africa. I will say, do you feel like there is... I'm not afraid of the All Blacks anymore, even though they're still flogging the shit out of us. In a weird way.
Still definitely am.
You're still definitely afraid?
I still am. But, I was just thinking back when, obviously the All Blacks had a golden era, which you can probably say is over.
Yeah.
And, well, they set the pace for everything. And they're fantastic, and they're kind of like I fear South Africa more. Like South Africa are just unstoppable, and I don't really feel that about the All Blacks. Like they're stoppable, but it's just really hard. It's not impossible. And I was just thinking about that, and going, of course, we didn't win any Bledisloes that year, but we didn't win any Bledisloes before the Golden Age either. Which at the start of this streak, this 25-year streak. And that's when we had a fantastic team, Larkin and Gregan were still playing, and we had, all those great players. Pupa, we got to the 2015 World Cup final, let's say. And we just look at the squad now, and it's so much worse. But kind of like what you're saying, Nick, is, we've still got a chance. And it's just kind of funny that we're still saying that, even though logically it's kind of worse. But I'm kind of with you that I do feel, not incredibly negative, but maybe, like I was saying, it's multiple hairline fractures and cracks.
I'm not saying that we've got a chance. I'm still saying that we're going to get flogged this weekend. But the big difference between, weeks of Bledisloe gone by and this time, or even the couple under Fozzie, when we came up against Fozzie, was back in 2015 or 2016, probably more specifically. Steve Hansen, Graham Henry. I had no clue how to beat the All Blacks. Like there was the thing about the whole All Black aura and all that crap that they talk about. There is an element of truth to that when you think about, well, how the hell are we actually going to beat this team? And you don't know how the hell do we do that? How the hell do you get on top of a side that can play as fluidly as well as they do? And there's a reason why that 2011 to 2015, 2016 All Black side is now increasingly being in the conversation for one of the best sides ever to play the game, because they were that bloody good. And the record under them and the wins that they got speaks for it. I don't feel that with this All Black side. I can see where we can beat them, The problem is that we've progressed backwards as well. So that means that the cracks, even if there are cracks in that All Black side, we can't. Is our Wallabies side at a level where we can even exploit them yet? At this current point, I don't have a lot of confidence about this weekend.
I guess the biggest thing about this game coming up, it's Schmidt was just in the All Blacks camp. That's the biggest thing we've got. Look at our guys. We struggle to catch kickoffs. So can we execute any plan he's got? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
well, as long as
and how much has that sort of effective, how much effective can you get out of it when it's a completely new coaching staff as well?
Yeah,
True.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, I think we need to be perfect. We need basically saying the obvious. We need to be perfect, and if we can, just maybe there's enough doubt for over the last sort of 3 losses in 4 games from him that the doubts just creep in and we can capitalize on that. But
I remember when we were last perfect against the All Blacks, which was that first test in a while that we'd played in Perth against the All Blacks. Where
2019.
Nick White was just going around the rucks. That was the last time we played perfect. And Nathan, you'd probably know the stat off the top of your head. When was the last time we beat them in New Zealand? Because that's what the Pumas did.
Fuck.
2003, I think it was, is the last time we beat them.
Yeah.
I feel like 2003 was the last time we beat them, and I recall it was in Wellington.
And we've had a draw or 2 draws there.
We've had several draws there. The last one was the Dave Rennie one in 2020.
Didn't we have a draw with Eddie Jones?
No, we lost.
No, we got beat in the last 5 seconds
in Dunedin.
Yeah.
Always in Dunedin.
But yeah, could we just talking about Bledisloe? I want to talk about this, and it's not very Bledisloe related, but what do you boys think about New Zealand and South Africa doing their own thing?
I mean, it's the nature of, I think, rugby's evolution. And, it's basically been alluded to already, so I'm comfortable saying it. South Africa will most likely come here into 2028. I believe that's what Jane Pandera or Pato, one or two reported. We'll probably head to New Zealand as well in that same year. I think we're going back to that. Rugby is one of those sort of cycles that just sort of always sort of comes back around to itself. That we're going back to those sort of midweek tours. So I don't think it's a case of, they got they're branching out and doing their own shit, and we're gonna be left behind. It's all eyes are on us next year with the lines to it. Sure, they're going to do their stuff in 2026, but when 2028 comes around, we'll definitely be involved if all reports are correct. So I just think it's just part of it's part you have the All Blacks are now under sort of private equity, whatever it's called. So essentially, they're driven by profit, and what draws them the most profit, marketing the greatest rivalry against the Springboks. That's essentially, we're now in an era where private equity will dictate a lot of what happens in sport. So, this stuff will become more commonplace. You see it in England where, Premier League games or even just in Europe, games are heading overseas when they wouldn't have been dared done it. But that's the era we're in with private equity. It's all about making profit, and profit-making ventures like this are just going to continue. It's the sort of the trade-off of professional sport getting a fuckload of money invested into it. They want that. They want profit back off it.
How do you feel, Nick?
About it?
Yeah.
I mean, the optics about it look really weird, but that's because they've gone and announced something, and I know that there would be a lot of discussions happening behind the scenes. There will be. I mean, of course, there's the talk of the Anzac Wallabies All Blacks match happening, and
I don't think that's going to be any good.
You don't think that's going to be any good?
I mean, it's a great idea, but just season-wise, it's pretty bad.
I mean, you need more details on it effectively for that one. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea.
I mean, the reality is, you look at Six Nations in the Autumn Nation Cup or Spring Tour, whatever you want to call it, and that is, club rugby still continues during that. We're one of the few actual rugby nations that stops. So
Yeah, no, I agree. They should just kind of bite the bullet on that.
Well, I mean, that leads into a whole broad discussion around completely restructuring and redesigning Australia's rugby calendar. But going back to the point, I mean, you know, if there is stuff happening around, if tour, I'm not necessarily against the idea of doing tours. I mean, they worked brilliantly in the past. You can see how much money, the likes of the British and Irish Lions tour is going to bring in for Australian rugby. And if it involves things like playing, provincial sides even a bit more, I think that's an absolute no-brainer. Watching that Wales Queensland Reds match was one of the most fun experiences I've had this year when it comes to rugby, and thought, why the fuck do we not do this more often? Because it just seems like such a brilliant common sense thing to do. If you have all of these franchises and all these professional players whose season stops in July, what the fuck are they doing the rest of the year? Doing stuff like this just seems like a no-brainer. I mean, it does look like Australia's being hung out to dry, Argentina as well, but that's, probably the pessimistic fans online speaking more than anything else. And I think that there is sometimes a need to change things up and try new things. I mean, the Rugby Championship, as much as we do love it, it hasn't necessarily got the same draw as the Six Nations and how it comes together. I feel like the Six Nations, they've ironed that down to a T with how they do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's people say that a lot, the Six Nations. But the difference is it's kind of like if Wollongong, Newcastle, Sydney, and Canberra are playing each other in terms of distance.
Yes, very true.
and the fact that you could very easily go watch your team play, quote unquote, overseas, where for us it's only Australia and New Zealand are anywhere close to each other. And then I'm not sure. I think for South Africans, it's if we play New Zealand, they want to watch us. It's in the morning, but for us, it's in the middle of the night. Lucky, I think because it's a 12-hour difference, it's not too hard for us and people in South America to watch, but it's just not good. And then they need the break, and the break kills it as well. But obviously, player welfare, and you can't get around that. So that's a little difference with Six Nations. But even then, Six Nations, like they talk a lot, like why isn't Georgia in it?
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other
and
discussion.
that's a huge hump that they're not dealing with.
In answer to the question, in short, like I'm waiting for it would, as much as everyone's like, oh yeah, Australia's not what it once was. Like there's a lot of discourse and crap out there. I'm waiting for. It is within the interest of many rugby nations to still want to play Australia, even if we are playing like shit. So I'm waiting for those other announcements to come when, I don't know, South Africa come and tour here or New Zealand come and tour here or we go to there. Like, it just feels like it does. I do think the idea of returning to tours isn't necessarily a bad idea because a lot of those great tours fostered some of the best parts of these rivalries. I mean,
I think the tours could work, but you just don't want a kind of like a cricket situation where, we didn't tour New Zealand for years.
I don't think you'll have that situation.
And ICC have basically said you've got to play these guys once every 6 years or whatever it is. Nathan, you've gone silent.
I know. I'm taking it in. It's a fascinating conversation. Like, no, I agree with you. Like, and my sort of view is like, I always, when you think tours, you'd think back of the sort of Brumbies, how they knocked off the Lions in 2013 and all the emotion that comes with that. Like, it really sort of creates a chance of just those
Nick's smiling for everyone who's not listening.
That's how I knew I could get on side with that.
That was a beauty.
Yeah, like as long as you're sort of keeping, I think if anything, sort of keep those big like contests, and then you even make them bigger. Like make sure South Africa at least coming down here once a sort of year. Get the All Blacks at least twice a year, and let's maybe sort of whilst they're on sort of tour, we can sort of start branching out. Creating a few more rivalries. Playing some maybe Pacific Islands nations.
Teams, we've got a better chance of beating.
Yeah. Or other maybe former people who could actually draw a crowd if you put them next to a mic again, mate.
Oh yes, and also there's only a 1 hour time difference, mate.
Yeah.
I didn't know realize we were playing the B team.
Well, actually, that would be great. I think if anything came out of this and the rugby championship fell apart, I think they should just go to New Zealand, get Japan in, get those dollars, because we are in the same time zone and it is only an 8-hour flight, and Fiji and the islands, and do our own Six Nations. Like, that is, to kind of go back to what you were saying, Nick, that is the only kind of feasible thing that we could do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, saying let's go to Japan for a holiday to watch Wallabies is a lot easier kind of thing than South Africa.
Yeah. And I think as well, like people want to talk as much as they want about Super Rugby, but one of the sort of unique aspects about it is that Fiji, like, was what Fiji has brought to it. Like, I think there's a real untapped market there that we can actually just lean into and just kind of commit to it the entire way. Like, can you realistically host big tests in Super? Probably not. I don't know. It's going to be a tough sell for people, but like you put the Fiji national side playing the Wallabies anywhere around the country, the stadium's probably going to get sold out with Fijians.
Well, this might be the legacy of Chinese geopolitical outreach in the Pacific. There you go, Anthony Albanese. Come on, give us money to play Fiji so they're like Australia. Maybe that's the way out of this.
Can you give us $600 million to start another franchise in Papua New Guinea?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that would be great. Fiji, and like to your point, Fiji brings something completely different to Super Rugby. Like, just watching the games, people just going nuts and shouting all game, which doesn't happen definitely in Australia. People just sitting there watching in silence. But like,
it's a party. It's a party for them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's an absolute party. You can actually look on YouTube. There is like, I think it wasn't like a Super Rugby game. It was an NRC game. And this bloke.
Oh, there we go. You had to. We got it in.
This bloke, but this guy recorded being in the crowd when the Fijian Drua played the Perth Spirit, and like, you wouldn't have known that it was an NRC game. Like, when all the talk about no one turns up to this game, it could not have been proven more wrong with this particular video, because like the crowd was nuts. Like, he was right in there.
Fiji.
In Fiji. Not in Perth. The hill, I mean, they did get some folks on the hill, but like, yeah, no, Fiji left all the crowds for dead in that comp.
But I think that's probably what they should aim for. Like, you lose the TV money from South Africa, but surely with Japan they'll pick up. You wouldn't get bad TV money from Japan, and if you let Japan win a couple of games, you know, NRL conspiracy ref style, then
get a bunker.
NHK would be signing up big contracts.
Yeah, get a bunker, and then find some bloke who's grumpy like Wayne Bennett. There's definitely no one in Japan who could be a
Wayne Bennett seems really sensible to me. I don't know about. Like, he's expectations.
Yeah, just how it is with him. But I love that we've like now suddenly gone off on a massive tangent once again, as we always do, talking about general discussions about
rugby on a rugby podcast.
Yeah, I know.
To be fair, that was the most surprising thing about this episode.
I know, especially, I mean, like, well, we started by talking about plastic surgery, so that really says...
I've got another tangent, if you want to talk about that.
I may as well. Let's go.
So, Lewis Rees Zammit, as you might know, went to the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl last year, probably the best team in the comp, as is my understanding. He tried to go for their practice squad, didn't get in it, but he's been picked up by, I think, Tampa Bay Buccaneers or whatever. And he is a winger in rugby, and he's trying to be a running back in NFL, which is probably the closest kind of role swap, right? Mm-hmm. Like, think about rugby union, rugby league, the easiest like-for-like role to swap is winger, like Marky Mark, right? I'm just thinking, if he can pull it off, like, you know, Jared Haynes tried to do it. Valentine Holmes has tried to do it. But if he could pull it off, do you think a lot of rugby union players would suddenly turn their mind to breaking into the NFL. And thereby, because the next World Cup after Australia is in the US, it's just kind of breaking the back of rugby as a sport in the US, in the fact that you can just be going to the NHL if you've got any talent.
I mean, isn't that what John Bataille's allegedly doing, or is weighing up? Like
I said, you've got to be able to catch.
I mean,
Touche.
I mean, maybe there's also the fact that maybe a lot of the NFL recruiters. I mean, I know that there's talk of NFL recruiters going all around the world already, enough as it is. But maybe maybe it's the experiment where, oh god, we suddenly have a player who can win us a Super Bowl. Maybe they suddenly would look at that and go, well, maybe there's how many more are there out there, and maybe that could be the watershed moment. Imagine Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the 2020, winning the Super Bowl, thanks to Luis Amitt. All the Welsh fans would be fucking furious. They would be livid.
The irony.
But if he made
Jacksonville, he's with. If he wins a Super Bowl with Jacksonville,
sorry, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh that hard.
But I mean, like if you make the squad for that, even if it's a reserve list. By the way, shout out to that guy who got shot in a robbery gone wrong. The NFL player got shot, and then his team put him on the reserve list.
Ricky Pearsall.
Oh my god, put him on the reserve / injured list 4 days later because he was in hospital. Fucking wow, that's very American.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But because I think Lewis Amitt, if he got in there, like he'd be on the reserve squad list, and he'd probably earn way more money than he ever would in rugby. And he has to do so much less work in terms of just that week to week killing your body kind of thing.
I mean, you've also got to kill your body in terms of actually transitioning to have the right body shape for NFL life. But yeah, like I do wonder
just in terms of the impacts, and the output.
That's fair.
I'm serious though. I was just thinking about it. Like if you're a prop and you just go instead of scrummaging and breaking your neck, all you do is stop people, which is what tight ends do.
Offensive line.
Sorry, thank you, Nathan.
I mean, I reckon it's too. I think the answer to this is too early to tell. But I mean, if you have that one or two players who break through and wins the Super Bowl, then probably the question becomes a lot more, well, what the hell's going on? Like maybe there's an opportunity here that might be available. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? And that would just be the talent line. Any winger,
just give him all the wingers. Yes, he's definitely not having a tough time in NRL right now. Sad.
He bet a reserve grade side. What do you do?
Yeah, it's true. I reckon let's wrap this pod up before we get lost in another tangent. But it is in fact Bledisloe week. You can tell we're enthusiastic about it because we are so confident this side is gonna do well. But Australia will play New Zealand in Sydney at Homebush. Saturday afternoon footy, which should be good. I believe there are a few tickets still available, which you can go and get grab some from there. Excited. Afternoon footy, that's good. It means we can knock off. We're not staying up till 1 a.m. doing presses and writing articles and work and stuff like that. It'll just be until at least 10 p.m. at least, so we can actually have a reasonable night's sleep. Not you. You're fine. You can just get on the beers.
I won't be working because I don't work in the space.
That's right. Meanwhile, Argentina will be hosting South Africa in Santiago, I believe, is where they're playing. And then also the Wallaroos are going to be playing against Wales at Rodney Parade in Newport. So key games to keep an eye on. That when is it?
Yeah,
it's going to be actually 1 a.m.
4 a.m.
Oh, 4 a.m. Are you covering that?
Of course, I'm covering it. That's what I do.
Oh, gross!
Mate.
I mean, I'm not covering that.
Perfect way to start Lettuce. That's because the Roar was misogynistic and don't like women's rugby.
Oh! I thought you were talking about the Argentina game.
Nah.
Not the Wallaroos game. Is the
No,
Wallaroos
it's
game
in
4 a.m.?
Santiago del Estero, Nick, not in Santiago.
Fuck. Oh God.
Well, Santiago's in Chile. It'd be weird if they're playing in Chile. Just have to look it up.
Santiago del Estero. Probably yes, that's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah, 4 a.m. is the Wallaroos game. Get up for that one. I actually probably will get up. I'll get up and
Yeah,
watch the second
Get
half.
up.
I'll get
Hey,
up.
we didn't talk
get around
about how Paul. We haven't talked to him for a while. We didn't talk about Argentina.
We talked about Argentina.
No,
we
talk
talked
about Paul. Paul Tate.
We do need to talk to
Paul
Paul Tate again.
JG.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't make me discipline you live on air.
Paul JG.
But anyway, I reckon that'll do us. I'm done. I've consumed my wine. I've got all my anger and frustration out in 1 hour and 16 minutes of podcast recording. I reckon
Have
let's
you?
call it, lads. No, but it's I've been able to compartmentalize it and I've come to terms with it. I've reached the bargaining, and then
Yeah,
we'll head towards acceptance soon.
Can we go on another tangent again? This is hilarious.
No, I'm calling it now. Stop.
No,
done now.
I'm continuing.
No,
So 7
stop.
stages of grief, right? My mate went to run in the Sydney Marathon.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And so on Sunday, we're like, cool, mate, how'd you go? And he goes, well, actually, I got disqualified. It's hilarious. I actually rocked up 90 minutes late and I ran with the 10-kilometer crew. So marathon is 42 kilometers or whatever. And then when I finished the race, I figured it was a 10-kilometer race, not the 42. So I just jumped this fence at the end. And I ended up only running 39K. So I got disqualified. How funny. And I'm like, bro, what's the first stage of grief?
Oh, my God.
Fucking idiot.
And he's
What
like,
an
I was
idiot.
on track to beat my PB.
No shit. You cut 3/4 of the course. Or 3 kilometers of the course. Sorry. Fuck yeah.
I'm done.
How funny is that?
I'm done. We're
It's
tapping
pretty
out.
funny, I'll give you that.
Oh, yeah. I'm tapping out now.
All right.
All right. I reckon let's call it there. That's done. That's the best way to end it. I like
Thanks
it. That was
everyone
good.
for listening. I'll continue the hosting job and sign off. Please like and subscribe and everything we do. Dropped Kickoff. It is underscore the dropped kickoff or no underscore dropped kickoff on Twitter to search us up. You also see us on YouTube, sure enough. And let's go to the Wallabies this weekend.
Let's do it.
All right, and then I'm going to close this off, guys. Really appreciate you just answering questions. Engage with us, be South African, just like keep writing tweets about us. We love it. And yeah, get behind the Wallabies this weekend. Yeah, Australia by 6.
No, I'm not finished either. I'm back for another round. Right, and cut.